Hi, my relatives. Welcome back to another episode of Our Storytellers. We are joined by another matriarch from the Squamish Nation today. These podcasts are brought to you by our partners at the Indigenous Screen Office. So a huge shout out to them for allowing us to bring these stories to the forefront, hopefully. Today, we're joined by Joanne Nahanee. Jo is a member of the Squamish Nation. She is from the Nahanee family, which is a prominent family, the same family that my stepmom is from. But she's also from Lytton on her mother's side as well too. Jo's story is one of courage and resilience, and she really shares a lot about her experience being a residential school survivor and how that impacted her throughout her life. And it was a privilege to sit down beside her and to just hear this and be in this ceremony with her, of her telling her story for one of the first times publicly. And she actually invited us to her naming ceremony, which she talks a little bit about in the podcast as well too. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it out to it. I was so sick. So Jo, if you're hearing this, I'm sorry. I hope everything went over amazing, and congrats to you and the family. I could tell you a little bit more about her story, but really, she does an amazing job. So if you like what you're hearing in Our Storytellers, please follow us on Spotify, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow our socials, all that shebang. But ultimately, please welcome to the Our Storytellers podcast, Joanne Nahanee.
Hello, my relatives. How are you? Here at Our Storytellers, we care about your spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical well-being, which is why we want to inform you that this podcast discusses topics that may cause trauma to listeners and viewers. These subjects include mentions of Indian residential schools, assimilation, ongoing harm, colonial impacts, and much more. Our Storytellers recognizes the need to minimize risks associated with traumatic subject matter. The Hope for Wellness Helpline offers immediate help to all Indigenous people across Canada. It is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to offer immediate support and crisis intervention. Services are available in English and French, and in Nehiyaw, Anishinaabe and Inuktitut upon request. If you or someone you know are experiencing any harm, no matter how big or small it's perceived to be, you can call the toll-free helpline at 1-855-242-3310 or connect to the online chat at www.hopeforwellness.ca. Kinanaskuman, I'm grateful for you. Your ancestors are always with you. All my relations, Riel.
My name is Riel. I have some protocol here for you. I'm Métis from Nehiyaw and Soto background, actually, and my dad and mom have been together. I've been part of the family since I was 11 years old. So, and I've been living here at Amulchison for the past 6-7 years now when I was going to university. So the kind of story behind the podcast is that, we got this grant, and I felt like it was just right to make sure that it goes back to the local matriarchs of the community that's taken care of me for the, most of my life in the past 6 years too. So it just felt right to do it this way. And this honorarium is actually funded by our partners at the Indigenous Screen Office. So, thank you so much for coming to sit with us and to share stories and share your story. And I'm going to pass this over to you. And when you're ready, just introduce yourself in your own way.
Okay.
Cool? Boom.
Okay. That's very strange. Always this has happened for me at the end.
Oh, really?
It's like, oh, you spoke very well. Here you go. That's how I felt it was. So this is very different.
Oh.
But nice. I like this better.
When we talked about traditions, we were
Yes.
having a conversation
Yes.
earlier. One of the things that we learned in walk with really traditional people who are kind of following a lot of those natural ways. Protocols and stuff are offered when you ask somebody's permission or you want them to come and spend time with you or be with you, that it happens organically at the beginning.
Okay.
in a lot of
Then
ways.
I'm formulating a ceremony right now, and because I don't have an elder that I can inquire from, I'm practicing my own way, which is always from people in the community that I was told to do anyways, because they said, well, you know what to do it. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
part of it. Yeah, I like that.
Absolutely.
I like that. But anyways, my name is Joanne Nahanee. I'm from the Nahanee family. My father was Raymond Nahanee. He was from the Squamish Nation here. And I like to use the old name, Squamish Indian Band,
Yeah.
because that's who we truly are. And then my mom was Minnie Rose Bob, and she was from the Lytton Nation. And I have just made contact with the Lytton First Nation to start inquiring about my mom's history. I don't know, for some reason it's just come up lately. And I made a phone call 3 days ago to their membership, wanting to see if they had a family tree made up like the Squamish band did. And so slowly learning. And then I just got a call the Sunday from my brother Robert. And he's mentioned about how I said I don't have an Indian name. I don't speak our language. I don't have a name. And he had informed me that he has chosen a name for me that comes from my mother's side, my grandmother's.
Oh,
Yeah. So I don't know what it is. I'm having a ceremony. I want to call it a upon death ceremony. Rather than having a will, I want to invite people to this ceremony to announce what I want when upon my passing. And it's not from disrespect. It's from seeing the younger people of today at how they're fighting over wills and houses and money and cars and things like that. So I want to be coming from my words, from me to whoever shows up for this ceremony, that they know exactly what I want upon my death. And I'm feeling pretty powerful about that. I've been working on it for about 1.5 years. I've been making things, so it's kind of got a little bit of a powwow, and that's what this is reminding me of, is I'm going to give gifts to everybody that shows up. And what I've been told by, I guess, my elder Robert, is that the people that I want at the ceremony, I need to go in person and ask them to attend.
Yeah.
And then it's okay that I put out in whatever means of advertising, Facebook, community pamphlets, that I want friends and family to attend. So that's basically a little bit of what I'm going to do. So it's kind of nice to be here and being part of that, and combating the fact that I really have difficulty with my Indigenousness because of residential school, because of a lot of shame that I've never been able to speak my language, practice our traditions and cultures. So this is moving forward at practicing. So I'm really glad that this is going on.
I'm so happy for you.
Exciting.
Yeah,
It's
isn't
exciting.
it? Yeah.
That's very awesome.
You look so happy, and you
Yeah.
look so happy and so
Yeah.
excited, and that makes me so happy to see.
Yeah, that's
To me,
awesome.
it's the healing that you and I have talked about just previously before this had started. it's finding my way through me, through who I am in the community, who I am as a person. And I often say that I'm a Buddhist in training. And what I've learned is Buddhism is very, very close to our culture. And at meeting the Dalai Lama, I got to see that in action, that what I'm doing as a Buddhist is very much my culture. So
Isn't that kind of cool?
that's really
That's
basically
amazing.
a lot of what it is
Yeah.
too, is because I totally admire the man. He has helped me with my the deeper spirituality that I have, in looking at his life and what he's gone through, because I always thought he was pompous and well taken care of and never had to worry about anything. And, was the hierarchy in spirituality. And when I looked at his history, that's not so.
No.
We've had similar experiences where he was taken from his family. He was made to be the Dalai Lama, and he didn't get a choice, and he was taught. He was raised by other monks, not
Yeah.
his parents, so on and so forth. Like this, there's a whole, to me, list of things that are very similar to my history, to my upbringing. So again, that's as close as I can get to saying my Indigenous, saying I'm Indian, saying my tradition and culture, because it's been so damaged. And I don't know if you know that Robert's quite into that in the community.
Robert Nahanee.
Yes.
He's your brother, yeah.
Yes.
I worked with him in corrections, actually.
Oh, Robert's your brother.
Robert's
yeah.
my
He does
brother,
he does the
yeah.
red. He's part of those red skirt guys.
Yeah,
up in,
yeah,
They do
yeah.
the cold,
Okay.
Yes.
cold water is where
Yes.
they
Do
Sundance.
the
We've been up
Pierce. Yeah.
there.
No, I haven't. No.
We've been up there. I took the kids up there.
Okay.
So we went to theirs, but we sundanced with Tom McCollum.
Okay.
He's Cree sundancer.
Okay.
Their ceremonies come from Cree.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've definitely all moved in the same circles.
Yes.
Right. And working in corrections too. We worked because he worked
Yes.
at Squamish. quite a
Then
long
that's quite funny, because in my earlier work experience, was going to be hired by the federal government to do maximum security,
Yeah.
being a correctional officer. And I was in a position where I had to let go of the Corps, because my brother died and my dad died. And because of the services, it took much time for the services for what was the work that was to be done.
Yeah.
So they dropped me from the Corps. They did invite me back, but I got a job at TELUS instead.
You probably did better off going to TELUS, to be honest, than into corrections as a CX.
Yes.
Just saying my experience with it. I worked in, not in the CX area, but in admin. I worked in, all the Indigenous programs. Yeah, I worked several institutions.
Yes. Well, I was even...
It's a tough environment.
Yes. I was stationed at Nahanee Correctional, maximum security.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it
Provincial.
was the lightest. No, it was federal. It's all 2 years plus a day. So it was
Really?
federal. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And they said it was the lightest security, where like Mountain Institution, they all carry guns, and it's more...
it's much more, they got the fences with the
Yes.
razor wire.
Yes.
And right beside that is
helicopters and
Let's go back to the beginning. Like,
Sure.
Where were you born?
I was born in a small fishing village called Namu, which is non-existent today. And it was a cannery town, and mostly Native women worked in the cannery, and they had homes on the docks, really, basically. It was very, very small. I was born at home in the morning, and I was told by my older sister. I'm the second youngest of 13. So we had a very large family. And I think every one of my dad's siblings all had large families. It was something that was the norm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of got lost being the second youngest.
Second youngest.
Yes.
Where was Namu?
It is, if you kind of go to the north end of Vancouver Island and go to the mainland, it's just about there.
Okay.
Bella would probably be the town that would be closest to.
Okay.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yes.
I was thinking Bella Coola.
Yes.
Yeah.
So were you raised in that village for a little while?
No, actually, we moved back to North Vancouver probably when I was 6 or 9 months old. So I have no recollection of Namu. Yeah. What I also learned was my dad was the janitor of the school in the community, and my mother worked in the cannery.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then what's like one of your earliest memories when you came back, or in general, I guess, what's one of your earliest memories?
Was sitting on the front porch, which is now 3rd Street. It was only a 2-lane street. We used to sit on the front porch and watch the traffic. Yeah. Exciting life.
I remember doing that as kids because it wasn't a really busy street.
Yes.
The same.
Yes.
It did run right through the middle of the reserve.
It did.
But
yes.
all the people's houses, all your front doors came out.
Yes.
You sit on the street, you watch the street, right?
Yes.
Because my grandparents' gardens they always had gardens in their front, and
yes,
I remember that porch really, really well. Actually,
yes.
That's funny.
What was home like?
Oh, that's I'm gonna say from 1 to 5 was at home in North Vancouver here. To me, ages 1 to 4 was really family oriented. I remember eating deer, ducks, seafood, and the family always getting together. There was a whole different dynamics in that first 4 years. When I sort of turned 5, 6, my parents got into alcohol. And so it became a very chaotic household. There was lots of drinking, lots of parties, lots of chaos. So it kind of turned after that. And I went to residential school when I was probably 8 or 9 years old. I can't remember years, but I can remember ages. My mom and dad split up probably just when they first started drinking, and my dad would not allow me to talk to my mother. And he would say, today I've learned that he said really terrible things about her. But for me, because my dad was saying them and because my mom was away and she wasn't talking to me, I believed what my dad was saying about my mother. And in part of my journey, in part of my recovery, I've gone into the community to ask people who knew her what she was like. And she was not like what my dad had said. She was very loving, very caring, very giving. And to me, it would have to be very difficult to raise 13 children, you know, and she was at home raising 13 children. And at times I remember her leaving to go to the cannery in Vancouver. So she always worked there too. So I'm going to say I was probably raised by my older siblings more so than my parents. Yeah.
What do you remember about your mom? What do you remember about her being like, if you have?
One of the nicer memories I have is she learned knitting, couch and sweater knitting from my uncle's wife. Frida Nahanee,
Okay.
Oh,
taught her
yeah.
how to knit, and it was the one way that we had coats all the time.
Yeah.
We got hand knitted sweaters
Really?
for the warmth.
Yeah.
And I remember her sitting in a chair just like this, and she's knitting away, and I'm sitting at her feet and playing with the doll.
Oh.
So that's kind of a really nice memory for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, when it got chaotic with my dad, it was very ugly memories. When they drank, it was quite often that I would visualize or see my dad beating my mom.
Mm.
And so it was very, taken in and held inside and not talked about, and very confusing for me because my dad would say he loved my mom, but then he would hurt her. And so I was very confused of, is that what love means? And so for me, it became, there's a memory. In that confusion and in the chaos in my home, I learned that I would bang my head against the wall. I would sit on the floor and I would bang my head like this. And it was comforting to me because I couldn't understand what was going on in my household because it was so chaotic. Siblings were fighting, mom and dad were fighting, and this was the stuff that they brought from residential school, is what I've learned
Mm-hmm.
and know what it was today. But then I didn't know what it was. I just saw the violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the fighting wasn't going on, what was your dad like?
My dad was trying to teach me how to gather food. I remember he was shot a deer, brought it home. He slit it so the blood drained out, and he wanted me to help him skin the deer. So I was pulling the deer skin and he was cutting it. And I remember it being so smelly. I didn't like the smell, and it was blood, coming on me and stuff. And I don't know, it just didn't make me feel good. And
You must have been really young.
yes, and it to me was a bad memory. But today, when I smell venison, it's my dad. So
yeah.
it's turned into something nice. And I
Yeah.
remember actually being here down underneath the bridge. There was an oyster bed, and my dad's showing me how to go and harvest oysters. And I put boots on and I go in the water, and he's showing me where the oysters are. And I'm like seeing all these little sea creatures, little worms and little wiggly things, and I'm screaming because I just not understanding. And my dad's laughing at me because, I'm supposed to be able to be handling this, right? And I almost got sick when he shucked an oyster. He shucked it right there, and I looked at him, and it almost came up for me. He was, oh, that was so good. Like, here, try. And I'm like, oh, just to look at it was terrible and awful. And I remember my brothers used to come down here duck hunting.
Yep.
And they would shoot ducks, and they would come home, and we're all pulling the feathers out of the ducks and, slitting them open and stuff like that. So there was some really hands-on meat stuff that was going on. And for me, that reminds me of your grandfather. I said I had a story, so here's the story. My brother and I'm maybe 10 and he's 11, and it's Thanksgiving, and your grandfather has cows and chickens and turkeys, and he's got all kinds of animals in his yard, right? So my brother and we think it's Thanksgiving, everybody has turkey, so we hopped over the fence and went and killed one of his turkeys.
Uh-oh.
And we went under the house and we were plucking all the feathers off of the turkey. And we went inside with this dead turkey and we go, Mom, we got Thanksgiving dinner. And your grandfather came and reamed out my dad for us killing this turkey. And my dad just said that, you know, we thought we were doing right by bringing Thanksgiving dinner home, right? So that's the story.
Yes.
Yeah.
They had lots of animals.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I think that piece of property was like 2.5 acres or
Yes.
something.
Yes.
In the city, so it was like a little
Pigs,
farm.
cows, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me to even think about having animals here,
Yes.
you
I
know?
know. I know, because
In
it's
such a city now.
Yes.
so urbanized now, but back in the day, it was largely bush. Most of Cap would have been bush.
Yes.
It wasn't as populated with houses, even close to what it is today.
Like oyster beds under that bridge, like that's just not even fathomable to me right now.
But if you read Catalano's book, which you have, you see in several points, he talks about a lot of the different types of food that we had, and the clams, the oysters, smelts, and oolakins, and it was very rich with food in the harbor here.
Yes.
And at your grandpa's house.
And at his house, of course.
Free turkey.
Yes.
Yep.
So then, like, home is a little bit chaotic.
Yes.
Well, maybe not a little bit is an understatement. It's chaotic, and then what's next? What comes next for you?
I was sent to live with my sister in Vancouver.
Mm.
And again, later on in my life, for me, I plugged into that my dad kept sending me away. So my dad never loved me. And he never, it was something that he never said. And it's, today I can say that's also something I've taken on. I don't tell many people that I love them. It's not words that come out of me very easily. And so when that happened, to me, I wondered what I did that was so wrong that he would send me away. And that was the same thought that I had when he sent me to residential school. And so for me, that's part of the stuff I took on with not knowing the reasons, not knowing stories or knowing anything behind it. Because again, coming from that family that got together at Christmases, that, you know, to me, I knew my aunts and uncles. All of their children, we got together and played, and you know, we were together. And today, that's not the same thing that happens. And so, when I went to live with my sister, she to me was young. Again, she took on a child, and it was difficult for her because she had 2 of her own children, and then I came along, and it sort of was understandable that because she was the older sister, that she was doing it because I was her sister, because she cared about me. But again, the things that happened when I was living with her was not nice. I was molested by her husband when she was in the hospital. So again, there was things that I couldn't understand. Like it was sad enough that she went to the hospital, and then to have this happen and not understand what it was very difficult for me. And I came to the place where I couldn't tell anybody because I couldn't explain what it was or what had happened. And again, it wasn't until I got older that when I started my recovery, then I started to pinpoint what it was and name it and speak it and be okay with it, to say that I was only a 10-year-old little girl and this happened to me and it wasn't my fault. Because that's what I took on from everything that was going on or happened in my life, as I took it on, that I did it. I asked for it, and I wanted it. And so again, very, very confusing time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was before you went to residential school.
Yes, it was the year before. My dad
Oh,
actually
yeah.
sent me to live with her until my younger sister, was old enough to go to residential school.
Oh.
And so while that had happened, she became of age. Then there was my youngest sister, myself, my two brothers that were sent to residential school at the same time.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
And I believe what I see is my three oldest siblings were kind of in a group together because they had a different mother than myself. Then there was the middle group that was 5 siblings, and then there was 4 siblings. We were kind of separated like that because of our ages and because of where we went to residential school.
How many kids were in there? Your family then?
13.
13. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I think there were 9 in my mom's,
Yes.
and that included Lorna, who drowned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so definitely big families, right?
Yes.
13's a lot of kids.
Yes. Well, I can remember once my dad, my husband and I, when the 649 lottery first started, we had won $1,200. And $1,200 in that day
Would have
was
been
big
huge.
money. And so I called my dad and I said, Dad, I got good news. Like, it's just awesome. He says, you're pregnant. He thought I was a baby factory.
No, one's the money.
I said, I have 3. No, thank you. That's enough.
That's what.
That's awesome.
Hey, my relatives, super quick pause in this episode of Our Storytellers just to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by our partners at the Indigenous Screen Office. The Indigenous Screen Office supports Indigenous narrative sovereignty through storytelling on screen. They provide grants to small podcasts like us to support our growth and to support the guests that we can have come on. Big thanks to them. Please check them out on Instagram. Please check out their website. You never know, there might be an opportunity for you on there, especially if you're creating content. Get out there and check them out. Thank you so much to our partners at the Indigenous Screen Office. Back to the podcast.
So what residential school do you go to first?
I went to one in Kamloops.
Okay.
We were sent to Kamloops. We were, our older siblings took us to the train station. They put us on the train and we spent the night on the train heading to Kamloops. And then once we got to Kamloops, somebody from the school was supposed to come and pick us up and take us to the school. And it was, for me, very, at being kids on the train, we were just playing and being kids, so we were quite bratty. And not knowing where we went. And then in the morning, waking up and getting off the train and heading to residential school was totally an experienced vision of priests and nuns and a very large building. Like
A foreign experience.
Yes.
You couldn't.
Parents weren't there. Really, all my siblings weren't there. So it was, again, I took on, what did I do wrong that my dad's sending me this time so far away?
Mm-hmm.
It was very scary because we headed into the building and they separated us very quickly. And it was, as a girl, I went to the right. And as my brother, I'll say my sister and I went to the right, my brothers went to the left. And then we were further separated because of our age. I was sent to intermediate and my sister was sent to junior. And so immediately the family was torn apart, is what I call it. And we were punished if we spoke together. So there was no really communication after that, no being together as a family. The thing that I like to say at this time was there was a love, there was a connection in us that we would still talk to each other. If I saw my brother, I would go and over where he was, and we would be punished, but we would do it anyways. And so that again is, does love mean pain? Because I love my brother, I went to see him, and we both got punished.
Wow.
So it again was a very confusing time for the harshness of something that was so joyful to see him, that we missed him. And yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was like a day in the life there like?
It was very regimented. I'm going to say, let's say we're up at 7. You brushed your teeth. You brushed your hair. You got dressed. You went for breakfast. From breakfast, you went to school. And I'm getting a cramp in my foot. After school, we would go and had homework. And then it was about dinner time, and we would have dinner. Oh, and in the middle there was also lunch. Dinner, and then there was, again, some more homework. Then we got a little bit of relaxed time. Then it was bed.
What would you do during your relaxed time?
Outside running around where nobody could see us. They called them supervisors in that time. If there was a supervisor around, we were prim and proper is what I call it. But as soon as the supervisor went away, we were just kids.
Yeah.
Climbing trees and kicking dirt and fighting and, so on and so forth like that. So that's the day. That's the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've never actually had, because Granny would never tell us about it really.
The actual days.
She told me
yeah.
she loved it. That's all she would tell me, and then that was that,
Yeah.
But I've never got the chance to hear about what the details of it are. Sounds scary, like every day.
Yeah.
Structure and routine and very
And loveless.
regimented, like you said, regimented. There's doesn't sound like there was any like affection.
No.
No kindness, no
Mm-mm.
touching of
No.
saying, patting on the shoulder type
And
of thing.
even from student to student, really, there was no sister and brother way of loving, is what
because
I'll
it was
call
punishable.
Yes.
Right, which is why you kind of associate love with pain.
Yes.
You have that desire to spend time with them, but if you do it, you're going to pay for it.
Yes. Very much so.
When you would go see your brother, how would they punish you? Just shame you?
Pull your ears, pull your hair, knock you on the head, shame you in front of everybody. So I do carry a lot of shame around that. I think that's what the basis of the shame is they did it in front of all the other students. And I think the motive behind it was to show the other kids, this is what will happen to you if you do this too.
Right.
And for me,
creating examples
yes.
of people for behaviors.
Yes. And the food was horrendous, awful. So we were very small, very thin. We overate what we liked, which was in Kamloops, they had like a apple orchard. So they had boxes and boxes of apples. So as a kid, I loved apples.
Filled up on apples.
Yeah, I filled up on apples. I remember boiled eggs was the Sunday morning breakfast. On Saturday evening, the cook's name was Mrs. Blair, and she would cook Mrs. Blair's beans. And they were so awful that
That's what they were called?
Mrs. Blair's beans.
Oh, they sound awful.
Oh,
So
gosh.
you would line up, you would get your food, and it was also something that you had to do, because if you didn't do it, you got punished. So we would get the food, we would
Or
go
you'd
sit
get
down.
more.
Yes. And they had nuns, supervisors, watching over us in the dining room. Well, they would take a break or they would go eat themselves. And as soon as they did that, all the kids would run up with their food and dump it in the garbage can. And what I learned later was that the food that went in the garbage can was fed to pigs after they would take it and feed the pigs. So we were basically eating pig food. And so that to me tells you how terrible it was.
Oh.
Yeah.
So then, oh yeah, go for it. Please
and-
keep going.
Well, I remember, I forgot to say, a lot of the in-between in our daily routine was prayers. You prayed in the morning when you woke, you prayed when you were at school, you prayed when you went to bed. So a lot of it was force-fed religion.
Right.
And so I definitely have a problem with being religious.
I bet. Did you
Isn't
go
that
to
a lot in
church?
shelters now? They have
Did
to
you-
pray for their food,
Yes.
I think. Yeah, it's a common practice.
Did you have to go to? Were you going to church before you got to residential school, or that was never a thing? Never even seen it.
The church I remember was midnight mass on Christmas
Okay.
because it was
Ah.
such a celebration and we were looking forward to the gifts when we got home. That's what I remember. Any other Sunday services or whatever, I do not remember. But I also believe that we did and were sent to church on Sunday, and my dad would give us 10 cents to put in the basket, and we would take the 10 cents and go to Harry's grocery store and spend the money and buy penny candy. So it never made it to the church.
Yes. Just kidding. Oh, dear. Kids, right?
I've heard so many stories like that. I feel I don't think any sense made it to the church basket.
Kids were kids, right?
Yeah.
Kids be kids.
Mhm.
There you go.
So, I guess you'd be there from this during the school year, and then summer you'd go home.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We actually, if the parents could afford it,
Yeah.
you went at Christmas, you went at Easter, and you went at summer.
Right.
And not every parent could afford to send their kids back and forth.
Because Kamloops is a
my
long...
dad, my dad could. So we went home at those times.
Okay.
And I forgot to mention, on that first entry to residential school, our names were no longer used. We were given a number. My number was 28. And all through my residential school year at Kamloops, my number was 28.
Are you serious?
And they didn't call my name, they called my number.
So they didn't give you a name, they gave you a number.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Holy fuck.
When you're lining up for clothes,
Yeah.
when you're lining up for a bath, when you're lining up for a medical, your number was called if you went and put your name in or your number in.
Wow. That is a that's crazy to hear.
To me, I had probably a more difficult and a more unusual school experience. Like I wasn't physically abused like others, or I can't remember yet. I don't believe I was sexually abused like others. But in Kamloops, I was kind of not living with my little sister, but I was in charge of her. And my sister was really very strong-willed, and she wouldn't do anything they wanted. And they would strap her, they would humiliate her, they would pull her hair, poke her eyes, do whatever they were going to do with her to try to get her to do what they wanted.
Right.
And she never would, so they would call me. And they would say, you need to make her do what we want, and this is what we want her to do. And if I couldn't do that, then I then would also be punished because I couldn't make her do what they wanted. And she was a bedwetter. And they would take her wet sheets off her bed and they would wrap it around her head. And in their rec room, all the bedwetters, the same thing would happen, and they would march them in a circle and have everybody, it was to humiliate them and get them to stop wetting their bed, to put them in front of, on display that they were bedwetters. And the bedwetters could also not put their sheets into the laundry to be washed. My sister and I had to wash her sheets by hand. So we would go into what was called the tub room, and we would wash her sheets in the tub room, and then we would wring them out, and we would have to go and hang them outside and hope that they were dried by the time she went to bed. Well, in the wintertime, we still had to do that. So when we would go and put her sheets outside and over the wire, it would freeze. And when we would go out and get them, we would have to take them off and put them on her bed, and she had to sleep in them. So again, to me, it was like not only my shame, but it was her shame that I had to deal with and take on. So that to me, I don't remember if it was a common or not, but I just remember it for myself that was what I had to do. And I remember myself being angry at her, myself hitting her because she was shaming me by what she was doing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that is,
Sounds like the Hunger Games.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The construct of forcing children to enforce
Yes.
a ridiculous or an unreachable goal.
Yes.
Right.
And that was it totally.
It's just interesting because you'd be punished if you actually went over and saw your brother and your sister and stuff like that until they needed you to do something.
Yes.
And then they would punish you if you wouldn't make them do what they
Yes.
couldn't make them do.
Yes.
Because somehow that it's almost like it layers the cruelty in.
Yes. And
And
so
yeah,
that
right.
for me, again, was very confusing and
Yeah.
a very different stuff I would have taken on. And in my recovery,
Yeah.
I've had to sort that out a bit. And then also, I believe, and I don't know if this is true or not, but again, from my perspective, I believe that the federal government was moving to have all the kids go to, quote, the white school. And myself and 5 other people were at Kamloops. We had the right grades. I'm going to say we looked the right way. We were polite. We were clean. And what they did is they took 5 of us and they sent us to school in town, separate from the residential school.
Oh.
So again,
the beginning of integration
Yes.
to public schools, right?
Yes.
Because there was a changeover when
Yes.
they said they were closing
Yes.
residential schools.
Yes.
Yes.
and
Yes.
so for the last year that I was at Kamloops, I was sent to a school in town called St. Anne's Academy. And it was uniforms and it was,
They sent you to the Catholic school.
yes.
Like that was different than
Yeah.
the residential
Yes.
school. Okay.
Yes. And it was, again, very difficult because we were at the residential school. We couldn't really do anything from the school or with the friends that we met at school because we were from the residential school.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we went back to the residential school, they didn't like us because we went into town to go to school. So we didn't belong in either world. So
They
we
lived
were,
in a no-go zone.
yes,
of unaccepted.
yes,
Wow.
yeah. So our world became smaller with just the 5 of us. Yeah.
What was going home like in those holidays? I'm curious about that. Like, Dad could bring you home, so you come back for a week or 2 at a time. 2 weeks for Christmas.
Again, always the first day at home was like a real sense of freedom, a real sense of that run.
They're
Yeah.
running and don't come
we're-
back.
Yeah. So there was lots of playing outside, away from home. The wintertime, snowball fights, things like that, like we did with what the weather was going on. Springtime, it was, kind of rainy, so we're out mud pieing and in the puddles and so on and so forth like that. And in the summer, the creek was a place every kid in the reserve and the mission reserve went to. So we would swim in the creek and we would block up the creek so that it was deep enough
like
to
a
swim.
pool. Yeah. Pool up the creek.
And there was, to me, always 10 to 20 kids, and we're laying on the road, and we would bring our lunches, and our lunches would consist of Kool-Aid and peanut butter and jam sandwiches.
Oh,
And it was the life. We loved it. Again, lots of freedom, lots of running. Parents were whatever they were doing, but we were just being kids. It was really, really nice.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even imagine swimming in that creek today.
The one beside, like the creek beside the house, Mahan.
I think it's
On
no.
It's by the graveyard.
Yeah.
yeah, that's Mahan Creek. It goes all the way up
It used to be called Mosquito Creek.
Mosquito
It
Creek.
changed.
Yeah. It changed.
They
because
altered the creeks.
They did. Yeah, I
Mhm.
remember going up through those tunnels as
Mhm.
a kid.
Yes.
And I mean, I remember fishing and playing in that. I did that too for
Mhm.
years.
Mhm.
That was fun time, right?
Yes,
Because
yes.
you
Yeah,
could
yeah.
go and it was shallow enough. You could walk up through the little tunnels. They were kind of cool and really nice in the summer because
Yes.
when it was hot, it was really kind of a nice thing to do. There wasn't too many people there either. So
Yes. Well, and then right at the bottom was the mud flats.
yep.
So the tide would come in and go out, and we would get stuck in the mud, and we'd have mud fights. And
Yeah. Yeah.
It
No,
was-
I do remember that. I
Yeah.
remember fishing for flounder at the end where the marina.
yes,
Right off the dock there, with just a little stick I found and then some fishing line and a hook on the end of it.
we
Catch
did
and release. It was always
Yes.
just
bullheads.
spend
Lots
hours.
of bullheads.
well, I spent hours doing that and
Mhm.
puttering, and kind of as a kid, that's I like doing that kind of stuff. I remember going to horse camp in Williams Lake, and they put me in with all the teenage girls, which I didn't like because they were up drinking and playing with the boys all night. And I'd be kind of like, oh, this is not fun. I was 10. Did not like to be with the teenage girls. So I'd get up in the morning like really, really early as soon as daylight and go down to the creek and fish.
And the other saving grace of Kamloops was they had a swimming pool.
Okay.
So that was also their withdrawal when you were punished. You can't go swimming.
Oh.
Talk about torture. And Kamloops gets hot,
Yep.
so we wanted to swim.
We could
Yeah.
fry eggs on the sidewalk in Kamloops. It
Mhm.
was so hot in the
Yes.
summer.
Yes.
Interesting.
That is kids just to try it out.
And you'd go swimming at nighttime
Up until probably about 8 p.m.
up until about
Oh,
8
wow.
p.m.
Yeah.
You got to go back inside, get ready for bed.
Mm-hmm.
In bed by 9.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Wow.
So how long? What grade did you finish there? So that last year you were going to
Andrew's
An-
Academy.
Andrews.
St. Anne's,
St. Anne's
no,
Academy.
St. Anne's Academy.
St. Anne's Academy. So that's the last year that you were at Kamloops.
Yes.
And what grade would have that been?
Yeah,
Grade 6.
grade 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then what happens after that? Where do you go?
My dad had made a decision to bring us closer to home. So we went to Mission Indian Residential School.
Okay.
Okay.
which
St.
is-
Mary's.
Yeah, St. Mary's.
Yep.
We were at about an hour outside of Vancouver.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
know
a
yeah.
lot
exactly where
closer.
St. Mary's. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, where
Yeah.
Heritage Park is
Mhm.
today
Yeah.
or whatever.
And then the first year for me there again, I was separated. And I went to school away from the residential school.
Yeah.
I was sent into Skszwx Elementary.
Oh, yeah.
And so again, not belonging at the school and not belonging at the residence was, again, a lonely place to be.
Skszwx Elementary. I grew up in Mission.
Do you know where Skszwx Elementary is?
And I know where St. Mary's is. So was it in the building that's still there today where it's
Yes.
big offices? That is
Yes.
what it was.
Yes. That was a residential school.
Okay.
Lots of people say that building should go.
That was grade 7 when you started that. You went to Skszwx Elementary. And then would you go to a high school after that?
I went to Mission Senior Secondary.
Mission Senior Secondary.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
did
where I
you?
graduated from. Wild. What a small world.
Yeah.
So
Actually,
then-
I think most of our kids graduated from there, except for Brandon and Tyler.
You graduated out here.
Yeah, graduated out here. Yeah.
So then, it was pretty much just the place that you lived, I guess. Like kind of, and then you would go to school and then come back. And then what were the weekends like? So Sunday would be church.
Yes. And still every morning prayers, churches,
Yeah.
lots of religion.
Yeah.
The food was a little bit better, but it was not better enough. I can remember there was about 5 of us that we talked this one nun into that we were starving and we had no food, and she opened the kitchen up to us. And there was 5 of us that went in, and we just had this big raid of the kitchen. And we could basically eat anything we want. She just opened up everything. And my friend and I, we actually took a crate of lemons. I don't know why. But
Grade 11.
we laughed it and brought it by our beds. Well, the other girls had said that we can't, quote, leave any residue or leave anything that
Evidence.
they can track. So there's all of us eating this crate of lemons. And we all got sick from the acid from the lemons. Oh, it was terrible. We had fun, doing the raiding, eating the lemons, but we paid for it.
Oh.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Wow.
And again, lineups for food, lineups for clothes, lineups. And in my adulthood, again, in my recovery and my connection to the real me, I came to a place of hating lineups. I would not line up for anything. And I've had to learn how to be okay with being in line. And now I'm quite comfortable with lineups now. So
Because you know you're safe,
Even
and it's
at-
not going to an end result
Yeah.
that will be unpleasant.
Yeah.
Right? I can see that association becoming very, very
yes.
Even at
hard
Costco?
to cope with. I don't know. Costco lines got to draw the line, especially on December 24th.
I have so much patience now that people say to me in a lineup, like, why aren't you getting mad? And it's like, it's not going to make me get there any faster.
Man.
Who is your best friend in school? Like these teen years that's going around. Who's your best friend?
In Kamloops, the girl's name was Punky. Her English name was Thelma Hall. And in Mission, we were the 3 Musketeers. There was Avis Edwards, Elaine Williams, and myself.
Okay.
And the 3 of us in high school, maybe you've heard about the racial tension that happened at Mission Secondary.
I don't think that's a story that survived at
Okay.
Mission Secondary. Yeah.
There
Interesting.
there was fights in the field. I was involved with a fight in the field, and I beat up a girl, and it was because she was white and I was Indian. We met away from the school, and we had, quote, what was called a rumble.
Yeah.
And there was groups of natives and groups of white kids that got together in the park and fought. So yeah, there was definitely tension.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That
Ah.
was normal. Nick got in a fight there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
did. He did. That's right. He told me about that. It was a fight that was stuck with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he got pushed so far.
We
that-
had other races to fight at the time, I
Yes,
guess.
I think so.
But that's wild. So
Yes.
so what grade was that? In grade 10-ish or something like that?
Yes.
And you were just like, what got you so angry? You just fighting her just because, was she making fun of you or?
I'm going to say she thought she was cock of the walk.
Yeah.
She was saying bad things about natives and about my friends.
Right.
So I was defending my friends, and I kind of got pushed in the front. I today believe I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah.
But if you look at my history, I'm a fighter.
You'll finish everything.
Yes.
Us
I never
Nahanees tend to finish it. We don't start it, but you push us far enough. There's gonna be somebody gonna get hurt today.
Yes. Doesn't matter size. Or...
Yeah. There's no whatever.
Yes.
Bring it
Wow.
on.
Yeah.
Go big or go home.
Hi, my relatives. If you're enjoying this podcast, or if you have any feedback on this podcast, please let us know, because we're always trying to get better at the same time. But especially if you're enjoying this podcast, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I think we have some really cool projects coming out that you might want to check out. Please follow us on Spotify. Share our reels as well too. That helps us out so much. And yeah, just check us out. Share the word. We're working really hard to keep this content coming for you, and the support helps us out so much, and we're so grateful. Thank you so much for listening. Back to the podcast. Wow. So what was your favorite class in high school? Did you have a favorite class? Did you like school?
Never.
Never.
I liked what my dad was trying to teach me once I kind of got older and I saw what the gist was, but I didn't like it when he was trying to teach me because he was laughing at me. But I think I would have done the same to my children if I had that kind of teaching to them. I would be laughing at them for the silly things that they did too.
You'd be trying to give them not take themselves so seriously in the
Yes.
teaching process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Teasing and
Mhm.
using kind of
Oh, and
joy
my
or
dad
laughter
was
to
a
it.
teaser.
Yeah.
He was the king of teasers. Oh.
I'll take that bet. I think my dad might be the new king of teasers.
Oh.
Yeah,
Interesting.
he really is. Humor is how a lot of healing was done in his family too.
So did you graduate from Mission Secondary School?
No, I didn't. At the time, things at home had changed. What I was to, again, connect with and learn, as I looked at my siblings' relationship with my father and then my own relationship with him, at about 16, each one of the siblings, I'll call it, stood up to my dad or questioned my dad, and he didn't like it. And so he would kick them out of the house. And that happened when I was 16. I questioned my father, and he said, if you don't like the way I live, if you don't like living here, there's the door, get out of here. And I, again, was very confused because I believed I was doing everything that my father asked me to do.
Yeah.
No questions asked. And then all of a sudden I'm asking because I'm confused and I'm trying to relay to him that I'm confused and I don't understand. And he says, you're not listening to me, you're not hearing me, that there's your choice. So I had at that point made a decision to leave. And because of that happened, where was I to go? And my father at that time did something that to me was really, I don't know the word for it, but he told me I had to go to my mother. And I never knew my mother. He didn't allow me to talk to my mother. He said all these bad things about my mother. So as I'm leaving, I'm going, but I don't understand why you're telling me to go to my mother when she's supposed to be this. My father's words for my mother was, she's no good, she's a drunk, and she's a whore. So when you hear those kind of things, that's really bad at what you learn what those words mean. So I thought, well, why would you send me somewhere again so bad? Like I don't understand. But at being the good daughter and still listening, I went to my mother's. And fortunately, my older sister answered the door. And I told her what had happened. And she had said, okay, she says, I need to go and talk to Mom about this. She left me standing on the street and she went in and talked to my mom.
Where was this?
Just down near the church, down on the Mission Res.
Oh, so your
Oh,
mom.
wow. So she lived down there.
She lived 2 houses over from the church.
So your mom was here the whole
Yes.
The whole
time.
time.
Yes. Yes.
But he had prevented you from going there.
Even so far as to prevent me from knowing my grandfather. When I was a little girl and that swimming that I used to go do down in the creek,
Mhm.
when I would walk down there was this strange man that used to shout, "Hey Joe, where did you get the curly hair?" And it was because my sister used to perm my hair all the time because I used to have long hair
Long
and it
hair,
would get
yeah.
all knotted and everything. And I would get nits and she didn't like it. So she used to perm my hair. So she would perm my hair and I'm going swimming and he would be shouting at me. And I would think, there's a
Who's this
strange
guy?
man. Like, I got to call the police. Like, he's a pervert, And I'm thinking all kinds of bad things of him. And I don't know he's my grandfather.
Wow.
And I didn't really know until, again, I was an adult.
Wow.
And what I've learned about that story is I was able, my dad would not talk about it. My grandfather, I finally met him and talked with him a few times and asked him, and he didn't want to talk about it. So I asked my aunt, and she said apparently what had happened is my uncle went into the Second World War, and he was stationed over in Germany, and he had taken my grandmother's wedding ring. She had passed away, and he had taken her ring with him to Germany. And my grandfather blamed my father and said that my father stole it.
Oh.
And so my father would not forgive my grandfather for saying that. And then that was how and why he never told us about him or never said anything, was because of that interaction. And my uncle died overseas and the ring was sent back home. And they found out that my uncle had it the whole time and they never got back to talking again.
So who was your grandfather?
Ed Nahanee.
Ed Nahanee.
Yes.
Yeah, because it was Ed, Lauren, and Bill.
Yes.
3 brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I met them, each of them, but as a child. So I didn't actually know them, but I do know meeting them. And I've heard lots of stories about Ed, too. So it doesn't surprise me that he would talk to you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You
Well,
know.
Again, I learned
Wow.
he was very political.
Yeah.
He was very well
He was,
spoken.
yes, he was. All
Mhm.
of those Nahanee brothers were. They were all very outspoken, and definitely they had a lot of sharps with politics and everything. They had lots of. They got involved.
Yes.
They got involved.
And that in itself with my father, I always thought my father was a couch potato politician. And what I learned is he was a member of the Brotherhood in Vancouver. When he had passed, they had come to his service and they had spoke about him.
Wonderful.
And I was just like, that can't be my father. No, he sat on the couch all the time, in my view.
Mm-hmm.
But he actually helped get Canada pension for Natives. There was other things that the Brotherhood, in the way of federal politics,
It was very involved. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. See, and so the Native Brotherhood, and then you had the BC Native Women's Society was started out here too,
And
and
they
eventually became the Native Women's Society. It became like the bigger one that overtook everything, right? On a
And
national basis.
they had the Squamish Voices too,
Yeah.
with that judge's wife. Can't remember her name, but
And
she
the
helped
Indian
them.
homemakers, right? Was also started out here too.
I think so. Mhm.
Wow.
Lots of activism from these small reserves here, which surprisingly, and I mean, all those people they all knew each other
Mhm.
all the way through, because that's like, there was a lot of activism back
Then.
kind of in the 60s and 70s after the potlatch law was revoked and that legal stuff and all kinds of other things started to be able to happen. They became a lot more voicey and public about things, did protest, got out there. Yeah, very active. Eh?
So what happens? So you go to your mom's house, knock on the door, your sister answers because your dad told you to go there. Mission Reserve, literally not even that far away at all.
Close.
What happens? What happens in that story?
Well, my sister talked to my mother, and she had decided that we were going to live together, her, myself, and my brother, and that we were going to stay at my mother's until the end of summer, because this was at the beginning of summer, just when I came home from residential school. And so I maybe got to know my mom for 2 months, but I didn't really get to know my mom because we didn't know how to have a relationship. And she was way beyond in her alcoholism. She died of liver cirrhosis. So that tells you how far along in her drinking she was. And me, I think I was just too young to, I just accepted that, still that distance that we had, because I didn't know how to have a relationship with her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, yeah, that's my mom. And it's literally was that.
Yeah. That's my mom.
Yeah.
So then, do you guys all move out eventually?
We did, coming to September. So that's my brother Mickey, myself, and Margaret.
Yeah.
We rented an apartment just near Mahan Pool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, on 16th and Mahan,
Yeah.
I think it was. And then that was where I went to Carson Graham.
Okay, and you finished there.
We had then moved to 26 because the rents got too much, so we had to move for the rent.
Yeah.
And then a townhouse came free, so we moved into a townhouse.
And where
Down
you were
on the Cap, or on Ashwahan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they built those townhouses in the
70s,
70s, right? It was early
Mhm.
70s, yeah.
Yeah.
So then, are you working and going to school at the same time? Is that
No? I'm just going to school. But I finished school. I was allowed to leave school early because I got a job offer while I was in school.
Yeah.
So I got all my teachers to sign a release that I could go to this job. So I left for a job.
What was the
But
job?
I still graduated.
Yeah. What was the job?
I worked for a company called Montreal Trust.
Okay.
It was over on Howe Street, and I was a filing clerk.
Okay.
And then I've worked my way up every different kind of ladder and had every different kind of job you can think of. Yeah.
When do you have your own family?
Oh my goodness. Oh. Well, this part is very. I got pregnant when I was in Carson Graham.
Okay.
So I was 16, 17, same thing. And my older sister, Margaret, tried to take charge of that. And I knew I couldn't surrender that decision to her. So there was a bit of a tug of war between me and her at what to do. And her solution was that she wanted to adopt my baby. And I was to accept that and not tell the baby that it was mine. And that just didn't fly worth anything with me because my sister was very abusive and she was abusive to me. So I wasn't going to allow my child to live in that kind of situation. And then I had broken up with the boyfriend that got me pregnant. And I went back to talk with him. And I'm going to say we broke up in the afternoon, Friday afternoon, and he had a new girlfriend on Friday night. So when I went to talk to him, he said he didn't want to talk to me and he didn't want to have anything to do with me being pregnant. So it was up to me to decide what I wanted to do. So I dealt with that alone. And it was a very difficult decision. Didn't come lightly. And I got, to me, when I went to the doctor to really find out that I was pregnant, he, to me, had a bad vision of Natives. And he literally had said to me that I was probably going to be one of those Natives that had 12 kids and was really fat and on welfare. And so it was really hard to hear that and not punch him in the face.
I bet.
That would have been my thought too.
So
Wow.
I only went to that doctor once, and he was my supposedly family doctor. But he had also said I needed to make a decision of having the baby or aborting. And I had, because I was so young, because the father didn't want to have anything to do with me, because I was able to recognize I wasn't able to do this by myself, that I had decided to have an abortion. So again, another healing that I had to do later. Because of making that decision and the reasons why, and just being, to me, a little bit proud of myself at the time I took, the soul searching that I had done to come to this decision, and being mad at people for being so young and them not really understanding what I went through to come to that decision. That I believe that they wanted to take charge and make that decision rather than me. And so that, again, was something that I took on in my future relationships, in the way of mistrust. And basically coming to the place where in that mistrust, I needed to do things myself, that I couldn't depend or rely and looking at my history up until then, because there's a lot of other side stories that I haven't got into, I can see why I came to that place of not trusting and not depending on anybody. I'm very independent. I'm very, me, the residential school took away my voice, took away my outspokenness, because again, when I would speak out in residential school, which I did a lot, I questioned, I argued, I got mad, I was very vocal. I got punished a lot for that. And it came in the way of shame, that hair pulling, that, oh, look what she did. And they would do in front of everybody, this is what happened to her, and this is what was said, and this is what was done. So really shaming. And so I've learned from that point on not to talk. And so that's what I took on, is I don't talk to anybody. I just deal with it myself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I had come to. And that was my last year in high school. And I graduated from Carson Graham.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And my own family then started the next time I got pregnant, which was 2 years later. And in that pregnancy, I became and looked at responsibility. I will take on the responsibility of a lifetime of all that is required. And so that was the start of, I married the father because I got pregnant. Ooh, bad reason.
Yeah. We do foolish things when we're young.
Yes. And I have a son, or we had a son, and he was a preemie. So I didn't get to see him until a month and a half after he was born.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Because they incubated him. He got jaundice. He had a tube in his heart that didn't close. And that almost killed him when he was born. So what they said is, well, we'll send him home, let him grow a bit, and then we'll have to do heart surgery. And so that's what I did, is I took him home, and we were a family for a while. And that became very abusive because it was very strenuous, because my husband at the time didn't really want to work. And I couldn't handle taking care of the child and working. So it created tension.
Mm-hmm.
And that marriage was like only 11 months, and I left. And it became very abusive. So I call it, I left for my life, because if I stayed, one of us would have been dead. You know.
Wow.
It sounds like your boy was a survivor like you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
A little fighter, a little survivor.
Yeah.
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 You made it.
Yeah.
What was his name? We can
His
take it now.
name is Greg.
Greg.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you and Greg go after that? I'm loving this, by the way. I just have to say, I just have to let you know that I'm so grateful to have you here to share some stories.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is my favorite kind of download. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is my favorite thing to do in the world.
Oh,
Yeah.
because what I want to say is that at that time, with being with Greg's dad, I lived over the Oasis car wash.
Did you really?
I rented apartments
Over there?
Mm-hmm.
They had an apartment above there?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That place is such an icon.
Yes. Not right over the car wash.
Yeah.
The building next door.
Oh,
Building-
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
that's right, because it's become lots of different things.
Yes.
That little corner
And
there.
we became a party house. And so everybody was at our house eating or partying or whatever. And my favorite story of that time is one time we would go out on the roof and have dancing and partying and stuff out on the roof. And my cousin Marky
Yeah.
is dancing with Judy out on the roof. And all of a sudden, Judy turns around and Marky's gone.
Oh.
So she heads off and she decides, I better go find someone else to dance with. Well, apparently, what we learned the next day is Marky fell off the roof.
Oh no.
Yeah, and he landed down on the ground. And I guess he landed with such a force that he just was passed out. And so he woke up and it was like, where am I? And he
The
heads
next
home.
day.
And the next day we get back together to party and everybody's like, where did Marky go last night? And he says, I don't know. I ended up down on the ground. And
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Oh.
Only back then in those days, there's some pretty
yes.
big stuff.
So that was actually Judy's story that
Judy.
she didn't know.
And Judy is always a sharp dresser.
Yes.
Judy
Yes.
loves her makeup, her
Oh, she had
dress
to
to
look
the
so.
nines. She had to
yeah.
always look sharp. Yep. So that's why she. But she doesn't have to find
No
somebody
arrogance
else.
or pizzazz or anything behind it. She
Just dialed, just
Yes.
dressed to the
She
nines.
Yes.
just dressed to the nines.
Mhm.
That was her thing.
Yes.
Could not leave the house without makeup, without her hair done, and without being dressed nice.
Yes.
Was she a good dancer?
I couldn't
She
tell
was
you.
good enough for Marky to fall off the roof.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah.
I
She
don't
made
know.
an
I'm going to
impression.
say when we got together, we were already drinking. So
Everybody was a good
Yeah, we
dancer
were a
in
good
those
dancer,
days. Jeez. Holy.
Literally
literally-
break a leg, but
Because that's literally across the street from our family property.
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And they used to have big parties there, too. I
My
think.
understanding is the family property. The story I heard was that that property was my dad's. And when we were at Namu,
Wow.
Lauren took over the property.
Really?
And then when they came back, because Lauren was on the property, my dad was married to a Gonzalez. And the Gonzalez gave my dad that lot that he
Really?
was living on. Yeah. Don't know if it's true or not because they aren't alive to be able to say yes or no, but that was the story I heard.
Well, it probably wouldn't be all that much of a stretch, considering the way that a lot of things have moved around on the lands here
Yes.
when everybody was eventually pushed here.
Yes.
Because it's like by 1930, 80% of our people were down on the two reserves between Cap and Mission.
I could believe that.
Now you see, Squamish Nation likes to say it's because people wanted to live here and they were moving to the city to be here. But the reality was is that all their children were taken and put into residential school, so they followed to be close enough,
Yes.
to be near them,
Mhm.
and have some chance at visiting. The ones that were left here, the ones that weren't sent to Kamloops or sent to other farther, schools that were
Yes.
around, right? So that's really why the bulk of our population had moved out of the smaller reserves farther up to be present, right?
Mhm.
So it wasn't about us all wanting to be together.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. It seems to be a lot of what people are saying when they come out that, yeah, people did come down for their kids.
that's a crazy story.
Yeah.
That's wild. Who told you that story?
Couldn't tell you. It's just been in
Just
my
in
life.
there.
Yeah.
Been one of the stories that the families passed down
Yes.
over time, right?
Yes.
Wow. That's
I'm
wild.
going to say it would have to do with my dad because my mom wasn't around.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
So-
was, but
yeah,
she was like
gone.
close.
Yeah.
A couple of doors down on the reserve.
Well,
but
that's even
gone.
like my grandfather. Like he only lived half a block away from us.
Exactly,
And I
because
never
Ed,
knew.
Bill, and
Yes.
Lauren were all together on the
yes.
Mission Reserve, which
Yes.
is why I think that the story was always that it was family property. So,
So wait, is Ed your grandfather's brother?
yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to put those two together now.
Yeah,
So
so
three
Ed,
boys
Ed,
and Lauren.
Lauren, and William
William.
Nahanee were all brothers. And those three brothers, there's like the bulk of our Nahanees. They all come from
Again,
those
you
three,
left
right?
out the females.
There were sisters as well.
Yes. And I don't know who they are. Yeah.
Again, the names have been much lost because they talked about the boys.
Yeah.
And yes, I do remember. Now, you see, when I was a kid, we used to go visit, and I don't know who she was, but Auntie Effie.
Mhm.
And I don't know whether she was sister or auntie to them or how she fit. But Effie lived just where you come, you know where Rona is now and that big steep hill?
Yes.
Right, Park and Tilford.
Yes.
Okay, so as you come up the hill, halfway up the hill, there's a road that goes in and up.
Yes.
And I remember they had a house up there because my parents would take us up to visit family there when we came to the North Shore.
And that was actually considered quite a drive too. I remember all the places we went, which
Well,
were
from Third
not
Street.
far, was far. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no problem in, driving to Vancouver today. And when I
It's
was
like
a
nothing.
kid, it was an all-day venture, right? My mom would get us all packed up. I mean, I went to an Indian doctor. Have you ever heard of those?
Yes.
Skszwx.
Okay.
Duh.
We had an Indian doctor, and my mom would pack us all up in the morning. We would all head over to the Indian doctor. It would be a whole day trip. Bus, ferry, bus, doctor, ferry back, Chinatown, and then home. Because when we're over
So
town.
up the Sunshine Coast, it must have been up.
No, it was
was
right
on
No,
here.
ferry across the bay.
Ferry,
back over to here.
Like where the sea bus is, used to be a ferry.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, right.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
absolutely.
And then we would walk from the bus, get off the bus, and be walking to the ferry. And we would always, I don't know, for some reason, I'm going to say, I always remember having Chinese food when we went to the doctors.
Wow.
Because I even think I went to an Indian hospital when I was younger. My younger sister, April, went to the hospital, and I think we were in an Indian hospital. I don't recall the whole picture, but my sister went to the hospital to have her tonsils taken out, and I was told and put in the hospital to keep her company. I didn't need my tonsils out, but they took them out because
really?
I was kind of babysitting her. Yeah.
Two
Well,
for
just
one.
take yours out because
Yeah.
you're here.
Yeah. That was it. Yeah.
Medical experimentation at
Yes.
its finest.
Yes.
It's just like,
Yeah.
there was a lot.
So
Wow.
what happens to you and
Wow.
Greg? What happens when you guys leave? Where do y'all go?
I went and rented a room at my sister's in her basement. So there's me and Greg, where I'm fully responsible for him, enjoying, and I meet this other fella. And it turned into a big mess in the way of family dynamics and interaction and stuff. And my sister tried to kill herself as a result of that particular situation, which was the fellow I started to date was her boyfriend before I started to date him. Yeah. And she didn't want to let him go, and she didn't want to accept the breakup. And so she wasn't, and she tried to kill herself. She drank turpentine. Yeah. And ended up in the hospital. Yeah. And she went to, I don't know if you remember, the hospital out in New Westminster called Hollywood. It was a hospital for alcoholics.
No.
Hollywood. Now, was that on like Royal Ave 6th?
Yeah,
it was
the Ocala, or not, is Ocala, where the prison was.
Oh, so it was attached to the hell was the name of that place? Woodlands.
Yes,
It was attached to Woodlands.
yes. She went there to, all I knew it as was Hollywood.
Hollywood, yeah.
And that was supposed to sober her up and stop her from drinking, but it didn't. And as a result, it created family dissension. And she was the sister that didn't speak to me for 42 years. Yes. Yeah. And had
happens, right?
her own story in her own mind. And that's where I had issue with my father, not, standing in, we're both your daughters. Like, why are you deciding before you listen to me or hear me?
Yeah.
And I think it was because she did attempt to kill herself, and everybody was more
Focused
upset
on-
and focused on that rather than what what led up to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
And then we got married.
Okay.
And we had 2 more children. He was Scottish, so I lost my status when I married him. What I did is I made sure Greg didn't lose his status when I married, because I didn't feel it was my right to take that away from him. So I was told no, he wouldn't lose his status. So I married next. And then we had twins. And I was 25 when I had them. So that's 3 children. And then the lottery stuff happened after. That was why I was saying to my dad, I was thinking, you know, I can have twins. No, thank you. 3 is enough. 3 is enough. Yeah.
So did you only have 3 kids?
I only have 3 kids.
You only have
yes.
3 kids?
Yes.
Gotcha.
So he's marriage number 2.
Yeah.
We were married for 17 years, and that is the relationship where, for me, what was important was money, property, and prestige. It was who we knew, what we did, and where we went, and we had it all. And one day again, in not understanding and being able to talk with him, because every time I tried to talk to him, he would go and buy me a diamond ring, or he'd go and buy me a fur coat. So,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I got another fur coat. And then, 5 minutes later, I'm going, but
Didn't solve.
I still have the questions. I still have this feeling inside of me. And
Wow.
so it came to where I started to drink really heavy.
Mhm.
And I drank with my kids in my car, and I drank not coming home, and I spent lots of money in my drinking, and I just was right out of hand. And he was quite accepting of that, because for him, for the marriage to end was a big no-no. It was a big wound on his family that this would happen, that he couldn't keep his family together. And for me at that time, I was in a drinking and driving accident. And I wrapped a brand new car around a telephone pole after a night of drinking. I was driving home and I passed out at the wheel. And I ended up waking up in Vancouver General, and the doctor was stitching up my face. And for him, it became, again, I got to see the real him, or the real what I was trying to be, which was, we can't let this out. He shamed me in front of my children. He brought all my children in the hospital to see me and told them what had happened. Was really more concerned about, we need to fix that and have it done with, rather than sitting and talking about, why are you doing this? What's going on? Like, this is,
Like
could be life-threatening.
concerned for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was more interested in, let's cover it up. And so
Optics and
yeah,
what the public says.
yes. And we
It's about
were
saving face.
yeah, we were in that kind of political place where that was very important, that what we showed.
Right.
And it showed we were all happy. Like, everything stayed in the 4 walls, is basically how we lived. Nothing left our home except, let's smile, let's show our new car, let's, wear that new fur coat, let's go to the right party, and
You were the
things.
Joneses.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
Joneses,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
And we lived it well. And
Yeah, that's a hell of a white picket fence to live up to.
I thought it was going to fix all that shame from being Native that I held inside. I thought that was going to fix me. And when I woke up in the hospital, realizing my partner can't support me in this, I'm in this again by myself, and I trusted you, I got to do something about this. So I quit drinking. And ended up leaving him very shortly after, about 6 months after, and have not stopped.
A bloom goes off the rose quickly when it's not being veiled.
Yes, yes. So
It's like,
off and
whoa.
running. I join Alcoholics Anonymous. I go
Wow.
to anger management. I go to treatment. I go women's battered support group. And
Wow.
the women in the group are going, "What are you doing here? Your husband didn't beat you." And I said, "No, I said he." Like, that's abuse,
Mhm.
like,
That's as bad as being beaten.
yes.
It's
Oh,
worse
to
because
me, it's worse
it's worse because you don't have the scars on the
Yes.
outside. You're just
on the inside.
and
Yes.
so it's like very hard to come. It's hard for someone to see themselves as being abused, but it's hard to, like, how do you talk about it, explain it, kind of rationalize it with everything, right?
Yes.
Because it's a silent epidemic is what it really is.
Well, and
right?
then from residential school, taking further that silence,
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to be talking about it, let
Well,
alone him
You
living
were
in it
you
or
were
us
an
living in it.
expert at silence
Yes.
by then. You
Yes.
had already accomplished that for several decades
Yes.
by then.
Yes.
You were a master at it.
Yes. And
Yeah.
so I went to therapy in Alcoholics Anonymous. I got to kind of public speak because I
Wow.
got to share my story in meetings. So I'm happy to say I'm coming up to 35 years of not drinking.
Brilliant. That's such an accomplishment.
And to
Beautiful.
me, I was 35 years of drinking and chaos and dysfunction. And now I'm 35 years in recovery and finding out what it means to me to be family, to be myself, and, just to love this world. Like, whoa. And can you imagine at one time, I've attempted suicide 3 times in my life, that I was trying to end exactly and not be able to be here right
Well,
now.
aren't you
and
glad
be
you didn't succeed?
Yes. Yes. Every day I am. Yeah.
That's
You
amazing.
might have the most contagious smile I've ever seen in my life. Do you know that? Every time you smile, I can't help it.
Like-
My face hurts.
Hey! So we were married for 17 years.
Wow.
Beats any of us.
I got sober and decided I couldn't be in that marriage because it's not what my interpretation of what I wanted in life or from then on. So I left and focused on my recovery. And probably the biggest thing at that time that I did was go to therapy. I went to therapy for about 10 years and just scraped at everything and honored my perception, honored what I saw, what I felt, what is my truth. Because again, or still, other people in my family have different views. No, that didn't happen to you. No, this, because I was raped when I was 8. I was molested when I was 10. I've been threatened with a gun and to be killed 3 times in my life. So to me, attracting a lot of chaoticness, a lot of stuff that's not very good. And so my smile is because I don't live that way anymore. When I share with other, like I was saying, I go share in United Churches, and when I'm introduced and I meet them, and then I tell them my story, and particularly the drinking and the fighting and the killing. I mean, because
Attempted killing and
yes,
killing.
that was my stance. Is I don't get angry, I get even, and
Yeah.
part of that Nahanee ultimate is I'll kill you.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I tried to kill a few people. I
Mhm.
mean, if you were my husband, you were very lucky you didn't get killed. And so they find that at meeting me today, they have a really hard time kind of hearing what I was like. And all I can say is it's the truth. It's really what I was like. And I'll tell you, I don't want to be that way today. And I work very hard at being that way. And part of this sharing is why I'm not that way. It's because then it helps others. I don't know who I'm going to help. I don't know where this is going to go or what's happening. So I'm not afraid of the unknown today. I'm not afraid of the future. It's proven to me it's absolutely wonderful.
Well, because you love yourself. That's what the smile is, your self-love. That's what I see shining through. It's a beautiful thing.
Would you like to be a guest on Our Storytellers? Because all you have to do to connect with us is just email info@ourstorytellers.ca and we will get back to you as soon as possible. That sounds like a voicemail, which I think is hilarious. But if you email us, we'll give you a call and we'll listen to your story and we'll probably film it. So please reach out to us if you're interested in being a guest, because we love to share stories from all walks of life, from all different experiences. We think that everybody's story is valuable and that you can learn from anybody's story. So please email us and we'll schedule a call with you as soon as we can. That also sounds like a voicemail, but back to the podcast.
And at 16 years old, he's maybe slimmer than you, but the same in height. We physically were pounding on each other. And that's how much, don't try me, boy, I'll take you down. And I'm attempting to take him down and he's attempting to take me down. And we separate and he writes a letter to me and I get it the first Christmas I'm sober. And he says, I hate you. You're not my mother. Here's a picture. This is the last time you're going to see me. I never want to speak to you again. And he goes on and on and on with all this ugliness. And today, it's not so, because we healed together, because he got clean and sober, because we, talk anger. We have the acceptance of each other, that we think differently, that we see things differently. And I'll tell you, again, that relationship is so worth it. It's just, money couldn't buy it. Money could not buy it.
That's funny.
That's a different type of prestige.
Of course it is, yeah. I told you about that one of our boys is autistic. He had quite a hard go of it for the last 5 years. He's coming out on the other side of it and making his own way, but it's been like dragging yourself across broken glass every day for years. It's just torturous to try and to see him stumble, to want to go and pick it up and sort it out. But it's also like learning to meet him where he's at and understand what's going on, rather than, because obviously whatever brought him to there were things that happened before. So all the things you do before, you have to re-look at all that stuff and go back. And, for us, it was really that kind of a process.
Yes.
And I mean, that kid phones me 6-10 times a day sometimes. And, like I answer 98% of the time. I only don't answer if, I got to go to the bathroom sometime. So, but, I answer and I talk to him and he's in such a different place. So the working out of that relationship really requires both sides to put it into it, right? So they got to do their work too. But they also have to desire to want to.
Yes.
And that's a part of it.
Yeah. And that's what I see with my son.
And the value comes, right?
Yeah.
When both sides there.
Like that, money can't buy it.
Money
can't buy it.
No.
Yes.
No.
And today, my son very openly says, I want to be just like my mother. I love my mother. I mean, and he goes on with his own list. So like, how do you rate that except, oh, he's talking about me. I
That's a
mean,
beautiful
I
thing.
just was in the hospital. Been 6 months now that I've been dealing with my health, and he stepped up to the plate. He was there. The day I went into the hospital, he had a week off of work. And instead of going out and living his life like I told him to, he came and he sat with Mom every day.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Can I keep that part in the podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And we talked because, again, for me, I feel I experienced near death. So we had some serious conversations while I was in that place. He was able to hear, I was able to listen, I was able to speak, listen to him. And that, again, is part of the ceremony that's going to happen, that we're
Right.
working on, is all of that. Because, again, he thinks he's going to have some difficulty. So I'm trying to make this death experience way more easy for him.
Yeah, I can understand grieving death is a really hard thing. You know, my son had a lot of problem with it, and we were so worried when my mom passed. So I told him, I said, you have to make every minute you spend with her count and make an effort to connect with her, because you will take those memories when she's gone and you will have all those things. Because every time somebody died in our family when he was young and during the time he was really struggling, it would throw him in a tailspin and he wouldn't be able to cope with it. So, you know, when my mom was quite ill last year and she was dying, he came out and saw her quite a bit, but he'd always been phoning her. He'd phone her randomly every other day and he'd talk to her and they'd have little stories they'd share and time. And so he came out and he'd spend time with her and he'd talk to her and he'd sit with her, and you know, they had lots of talks and stuff. So when she passed this last year, over the year, he'd phone me and he'd say, down at the river, thinking about Jima, she would love this. And I remember this story. And then he'd say it and be like, oh, you know, it just make me want to cry. So, you know, he says, I'm missing her, but he says I'm doing okay with that. And I thought that really like showed such a, you know, beautiful growth for him in that. And her death
And then
was
as
hard for him
mothers,
because she
it
was like a
relaxes
mom.
us.
Well, it was she was like his mom too,
Yeah.
because you know, she really, when I was separated, she, you know, she came out and made special time for all the kids to come and spend time with us, and she did it weekly and consistently. You know, put that time in. So the kids really developed a really close relationship with her. So as they grew into an adults, they started to still go and see her
Yes.
independently and go and spend time with her and do those things. So, you know, it was definitely, I mean, it's never easy when you really say goodbye, but the great thing is that they made the effort, put the time in before, so there wasn't those really bad regrets and things
Yes.
after the fact.
Yeah. You hear lots of regrets from people.
Yeah.
Your son should write a book on how to be a great son. That's what
Yes.
he should write a book on.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, I got a new book. It's called, I think it's called Here's My Story. And I'm writing it out right at the moment. And it's my life story for my children.
Beautiful.
And it's a book that
I've heard of
is
this.
asking questions. And you answer the questions, and then your children can read them over, and then they get to know who you are. And for me, that's become really
a cool
important, because like I asked you for a copy of this because I want it
Them
for
to
my
be
kids.
able to see.
And I took a copy of my residential school interview that I did, and I gave it to them. And so
What a gift.
yes. And for me, it was even recognizing that when my youngest daughter when she got pregnant was a scary time because I was becoming a grandmother. I never had a grandmother. I didn't know what a grandmother was. So I went out and I learned what a grandmother was. I went to grandmother school.
Nice.
I read books about how to
Nice.
be a grandmother. And when I felt the time was right for me, I went to her and I said, okay, this is me what a grandmother is. This is the kind of grandmother I'm going to be. And I told her what that was going to be. And I've lived up to that today. But because we're estranged, I don't get to practice that.
Mm.
I get to practice it with Greg's grandchildren, or my grandchildren,
Your grandchildren.
his children. And I'll tell you, I'm a fabulous grandma.
I bet you are. I bet you
yeah.
are.
I'm direct. I hold no punches. And, mom and dad sometimes look at me and go, Mom. And I'm like, this is me.
You just have to get used to the Jima. That's the way it is.
Yes.
We called my mom the Jima.
Yes.
So you've been through the extensive healing journey. After
Yes.
that point, your healing journey starts for the past 35 years now.
Yes.
So in your perspective, what does ceremony mean to you?
This is an aspect of ceremony. For me, a lot of my ceremonies are with myself and for myself, and they are never the same. I go with the moment. Like the other day, I got to meet a monk. A friend of mine invited me, and I don't know what kind of monk he is, or my friend just said he's very high up in the hierarchy of this monkship. And I just was honored that he invited me. So I went for lunch, and I'm looking at him and having lunch and thinking, I still don't like religion because of how, me, particularly the women, were bowing to this male monk. And I thought, women, don't do that. Be yourself. Like, and then I was a little bit offended in this ceremony. The monk ate by himself, and we had to kind of stand and watch him eat. And then he ate, and he ate in front of us at a table by himself, and we could move around and talk, but he ate by himself. And then we ate, and he didn't sit with us when we ate. And I thought that was very disrespectful in my ceremony.
Strange.
Yeah.
Different that you're not used to.
Yeah.
Right.
So again, it's to me, acceptance. I had to accept that this is what their religion is. I don't know the reasons why they do this. And just acknowledge that I didn't like it, but it's what they do. And then that helps me allow myself to do what I want to do. And that's the ceremony that I'm going to do, because I think I'm pulling from every tribe, nationality of Indian that's going on. I'm just, going with, quote, the flow of, I'm doing a little bit of this and a little bit, like a powwow, right?
Yeah.
I don't think powwows were our history. I'm not sure. I only recognize it from the island. So I'm pulling in something from the island. And I'm making gifts for everybody, but that for me is because that's what I do. And so it makes me happy. It makes me loving that I spend time and, I want to give you a gift. And then I have to remember, well, I give you the gift, and if you don't use it or you don't, you put it away in a drawer, that's your business. It's yours now, that kind of stuff. So it's really, for me, an independent ceremony. And I'm very much alone in my ceremonies. Example is I meditate when I walk my dog. It's just me and my dog, and I'm open to the universe, and it comes, and she's off doing her thing, and she gets a walk, and I get to meditate.
Yep.
I meditate when I drink. I meditate when I eat. It's whenever the moment is there. So I can't say really what ceremony is, but it's very important to me.
I think I got it.
It's in the everyday.
You embody
Yes.
it.
It's
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want, like, people in my generation to start actioning today or to start doing today?
Can I ask you how old you are?
25, almost
Oh.
26.
But another couple weeks.
Mhm.
I would like to see you downsizing. And downsizing is something that my son did when he moved into my house. He moved from the money, property, and prestige. And now he's not overworking. He's not overeating. He's not overstressing himself. So with that, he's more healthier. He's more happier. So that would be my encouragement would be to downsize yourself. Don't be grabbing for material.
Yeah, material.
Yes, material.
Material was a word that just came as soon as you said that.
Yeah. It
Oh.
is be happy with what you have.
Oh, I'm the richest man you've ever seen. I'll tell you that for sure. 100%. I say that to everybody. You know what's amazing, Joe? Like, everything that you see right here, it was all given to me. Like, I worked really hard, but I met Creator halfway, and every single thing that you see here was given to me.
Yeah.
Because my ancestors wanted me to have it. No other reason. So I could have conversations like this. So
Yeah.
I have everything I need, you know? Like, I have my family. My dad is relatively healthy. He's got a stiff neck right now, but, you know, he's healthy. He took care of me. He raised me. She raised me. My other mom raised me. I have brothers everywhere. I can go across Canada. I can stay in anybody's house. I have aunts. I have so many aunts that would all take care of me in a heartbeat. I'm the richest man you've ever seen in your life. 100%. I believe that. You know?
You'd have an argument with my son.
Yeah. Who gives more? Who gives more? I would love to have an argument with your son. But he can come over whenever he likes.
Should interview him.
Yeah, I would love to interview him. What do you want to dedicate this podcast to anybody?
I would like to say for the females, because I have felt and seen how strong every female is and how they endured the difficulties, and how much they give away still. Like to me, that's female is giving, caring, compassionate. And I think women definitely have that. So this would be for every female.
The females, for the matriarchs.
Yes.
Is there anything that you wish we would have asked you about, but we never did?
No, I like how things have just come out the way that they should have, because again, I go with the creator. Like that was what I was expressing to you. I've done this, I know this, and I just am literally going with what's inside of me right now.
Mm-hmm.
You could ask me 2 minutes later and there might be something I don't remember and something else I remember or whatever, right? And it can go on to me for days. I mean, you know, at being a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, I've sponsored tons of people, you know, in tons of different dramas and traumas and stuff. And, you know, to me, it's, I used to push away kind words, heartfelt things that people used to say to me. And one example is a lot of people in Alcoholics Anonymous have been very grateful for the way that I share and the recovery that I've done. And they've literally said, "You've saved my life." And I always humbly say, "It's not me, it's you." I just show you what I've done. And if you want to follow, you'll get the same results. And if you don't, you'll end up with something different. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Amazing.
yeah. So nothing.
No.
Nothing. It's done if you want it done. And if it's not, I can go on some more.
Well, keep visiting. I'll turn the cameras off.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
thank you so much for coming on the Our Storytellers podcast. Like, it literally means so much.
Okay.
And it was a great visit. And keep visiting. Keep going.